What's going on, Colts Nation? I appreciate you joining me for another video where in this one we're going to talk a little bit about some of the news coming from OTAs. Now, this is the early portion of OTAs. Some people aren't even there, right? This is voluntary work that's happening, and these are just things I don't want to take too much into account, but I think this is important work, right? With Anthony Richardson coming back, with his offseason training and what's going to happen with him. Now, everything that I've seen one missed throw. There was one high throw in the videos that I saw. But everything I've seen, everything I've heard, it seems like, and as of right now, the media only has one session of seeing the team work together. They have, of the 3 training sessions this week, they get to view 1. Next week, of the 3 training sessions, they get to view 1. So there's limited stuff we're really going to be able to see, limited stuff we're going to be able to hear about. But from what we saw in the last practice, at least from the time I'm recording this, the last practice was Thursday, May 29th. The practice there was at this was day 1 of 2025 viewing, and shout out to Kevin Bowen. This is information from him on 1075thefan.com. An article that he put out. And in terms of the quarterbacks and what we got from them in this practice, in 7-on-7 periods, Anthony Richardson was 8 of 12. Whereas Daniel Jones, where's Daniel Jones' numbers? He was 11 of 12 in the 2 7-on-7 periods. And then in terms of 11-on-11, Anthony Richardson was 2 of 4. While Daniel Jones was 5 for 5. So obviously Daniel Jones, impressive day, only having 1 incompletion. That 1 incompletion probably should have been a pick by Samuel Womack, is what I'm reading here. But overall, at least Kevin Bowen says it was a very in rhythm, consistent afternoon from the veteran quarterback. Anthony Richardson was making bigger completions, and that's really the difference, right? Is Anthony Richardson needing to take what the defense gives him, but he also takes chances, pushes the ball downfield, whereas we know Daniel Jones, he's a guy who will take that short stuff all day long. He's a guy that struggles with deep accuracy, and over time, I wonder, even watching him over the last couple of years, just kind of wondered, like, because of the struggles that he has in that New York market, the things that people say, and he was a number 6 overall pick, like, just overall, what's his mental like, right? When you talk about, is he fearful of throwing the ball down the field? That is something that I think could be an issue for, as somebody who's always liked Daniel Jones. Right? I've said that plenty of times. I've always liked Daniel Jones, always thought that he had the potential to be a really good quarterback. I just think the Giants are a terrible place to try to be a good player. All right? Ever since Eli retired, right, downhill, really since Coughlin left, right? Downhill for the Giants. Daniel Jones was just a part of that, right? Guy that had some success, a guy that's had some embarrassing moments, right? A little bit of everything. But overall, at least here in the first viewing for Colts media here of OTA practices, Daniel Jones, when you put it all together, was 18 of 19. I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong numbers here. He was 16 of 17. And only had 1 incompletion. But then, again, you have Anthony Richardson, 8 for 12 and 7-on-7, 2 of 4 and 11-on-11. And for Anthony Richardson, he started 6 for 6 in the 7-on-7 period. And from what I'm seeing, Tyler Warren getting a lot of work. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. Let's see, in stride touch. So that's another good thing. Something I've seen, something I've read. The touch is something that Anthony Richardson's figuring out how to put touch on the ball, which is good. Continue to work on that. I don't expect him to perfect these things this year. Just continue to work on it, and we're seeing good signs of that, which I like. So that's good. Now, he did have an interception by Liam Anderson, and this came on the second 7-on-7 period, where he ended up going 2 for 6 on that 7-on-7 period. And the last note here on Richardson's paragraph actually says, Richardson's day was held back by chunk play drops from Jelani Woods and A.D. Mitchell. So those are things that that happened last year. Anthony Richardson's numbers would look a lot better if people would just catch the ball. So getting a couple drops there, which makes Daniel Jones look even better. Like, if they don't drop those passes, Anthony Richardson seemingly ends up 10 of 12, and then 2 of 4 and 11 on 11 work. And again, he's driving the ball downfield. He's making bigger plays. So, you know, I as a fan, I'm okay with a couple more incompletions if it means we're pushing the ball down the field rather than having Daniel Jones, right, where he goes, what I say, 16 of 17, but did he get to 150 yards in that 16 of 17? That's what I would like to know, you know, because it's a different philosophy. Both will work, right? But if you're going to, we need to find middle ground on who those two are. You want a guy that plays it safe, but you want a guy that'll take that chance. Right? We need to combine these quarterbacks into one and figure, and hopefully they can as they continue to work together, right? Taking things from each other, seeing things that work for one another. Maybe both these guys, maybe this could be a good situation for both these guys where Richardson figures it out and is good enough this year and shows enough improvement where he can keep the starting job, right? Like, as long as he shows improvement, he's going to get the job. Like, unless Daniel Jones looks outrageous in training camp. Like, as long as Richardson is actually improving in different areas, then I just believe he'll get the job. And they'll let him keep riding like that because he's the guy we drafted. But for Daniel Jones, maybe this can be a good opportunity to see Anthony Richardson, his explosiveness, his willingness to take those shots, right? Not being afraid at all of throwing the ball downfield. And he can learn a little bit from that and reincorporate that into his game, right? And it can be a good situation for both guys. Daniel Jones could be the next Sam Darnold, Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield, right? We can see that from Daniel Jones. And hopefully we're able to see Anthony Richardson become that guy for us. And Daniel Jones can go off, make a bunch of money, and be a really good starting quarterback for somebody else. Again, I've always been a Daniel Jones guy. I think he has the capability, just like Anthony Richardson, dude. You have the potential. Just keep working, like put the work in, and try to get better every single day. Work on the things you need to work on, and you'll find it, dude. Like, I'm not going to count these guys out with what we've seen from quarterbacks recently. There is seemingly a quarterback developmental issue in a way, but I also think it's on the player in a lot of ways to be able to do it. So have faith in both these guys being able to figure it out along the way in the NFL. But as I mentioned a few minutes ago, Wednesday was a very active day for rookie tight end Tyler Warren. It wasn't Warren catching a bunch of underneath passes either, no matter the quarterback. And these are exact words from Kevin Bowen here, just reading what he put. No matter the quarterback, Warren was a frequent target of Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones, mainly during 7-on-7 sessions. Simply, Warren moves differently from most tight ends at that size. So we're seeing early a favorite target and a big body like that, somebody that can get upfield, somebody that can separate the way he can. The way he cuts at his size is ridiculous, and he's matching up with either, most of the time, probably a smaller cornerback or a linebacker who can't keep up with him and is smaller. So Tyler Warren's going to be an issue, dude. Tyler Warren, man, let's just take care of him. He's getting a lot of work early, which is good. Get the rookie a lot of work in these early practices, go into training camp, and you can lighten the load a little bit on Tyler Warren as we start to go into the season. Obviously, we have joint practices coming up, which is something we didn't make a video about, but we do have joint practices against the Ravens in Baltimore, the Packers in Indy. Hoping to get the exact schedule for that, but whatever the case, now that I know we are doing a joint practice, it's about that time for me to get my vacation scheduled so that I can go up, see some practices, hopefully be able to see some of Colts Nation at some point, and be able to see some people that follow Colts Syndicate here. But what I do know is that going into those training camp practices, like watching starters on starters, like being able to see what the offense looks like with Tyler Warren in it and how much of an impact he's going to have as a rookie is going to be top tier incredible, right? Seeing the development of Anthony Richardson, especially against the Packers defense. Packers always had talent, and then they went and got a new defensive coordinator last year, especially when Jair Alexander is healthy. Like, they got Xavier McKinney now. We saw what they did last year to us in the regular season week 2. Like, just overall, going to be tough. Going to be tough practices. And it's going to be good to see and hopefully be able to get my eyes live on these joint practices so that I can really come back and give you guys an idea and a sense of what to really expect. When you see it live, it's just different. Being able to see the impact Tyler Warren has on the offense as a whole is going to be great. Like, our offense is ridiculously loaded, right? You just need the quarterback to do his thing. The offensive line needs to protect him and give him 2.5 to 3.5 seconds. But in the same vein, Anthony Richardson has to be able to maneuver around whatever the circumstances are, and that's a part of development as well. Now, big point here in this video, Shane Steichen came out, was talking about Carly Ursay-Gordon, right, who's going to be really like leading the way on the day-to-day operation, somebody that's very involved in the organization, in all the different things, right, working her way from the bottom up in a lot of ways, doing a lot of things that Jim did. She's been on the sideline with headsets and practices. She's very involved. That's kind of what Shane Steichen was saying here. Again, shout out to Kevin Bowen for all this information. He says that Steichen offered some thoughts. She's going to be running day-to-day operations. And said, quote, this is Shane Steichen's words, she's going to do a phenomenal job. She's been very involved with the organization for years, and she's done it from the ground up too. So we are very fortunate to have the girls. That's an end quote. And then he goes on to end up saying a little later, as far as football, she's around, she understands it. When you talk football with her, she gets it, she understands it. She goes over the defense stuff, the offensive stuff. She's been involved ever since I've been here. Very hands-on. She's been tremendous. So ever since he's been in the building, she's been very involved, day-to-day operations. Now, she has to have some good understanding of what's going on because she's listening to everything in the headset for years, right? And she has the playbook. She's able to figure it out as they're going along and trying to put together what's going on the sideline. I'm sure conversations that she's had has helped piece a lot of the things together. Like, she probably knows about as much about everything that's happening on the field as anybody in the organization, which is why I feel really good about the Colts ownership and where we're going to be, right? I think that's something that Irsay didn't get enough credit for. I feel like people lost sight of the path that he took to being an NFL owner, right? He didn't do nothing and then just gets handed the organization. Like, he did everything and then gets handed the organization later on. So, Carly and the girls are kind of built in the same vein, but especially Carly with the experiences that she's had with the headset on, being as involved as she's been in the day-to-day operations. From an organizational standpoint of trying to win championships, like, she's going to be one that we're really looking at, that's going to be leading the way in that regard. Now, the other ones are obviously going to have, a hand in building the Colts and a hand in the decision making and whatnot. And we talked about that in a video a couple days ago. If you didn't see that, make sure to go check that one out. We're going to continue to have more content as the days come along, more information from these OTA practices. Actually, want to try to get that to you today. If I can't get it to you today, I'll get it to you tomorrow. But some more important information from these OTAs, but they deserve their own videos. So make sure you're subscribed if you enjoy the content. Make sure you hit the like button and make sure you're subscribed with notifications on so you continue to get notified anytime we drop any content on this channel. Of course, appreciate you stopping by for another video. And as always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.